Hello Goombas, what if I told you there are natural supplements that can help you look lean, think sharper, and prevent chronic diseases which plague the modern man? Keep watching because one of these might even turn you into a salmon. Vulcan Muscle here, where brains and bronze collide, allegedly. Today, I'm going to tell you guys about some supplements that I abuse in my daily life to both feel and look good. These supplements won't only extend your life but also increase your quality of life. They are backed extensively by science and work by my personal anecdote as well. Now, why should you listen to me? I'm healthy and I have maintained 13 to 10% body fat for years now. And I'm here to share what I've learned over the years so you can look and feel your best. Now, moving on to the first simple, convenient, and highly effective tool in our arsenal. Now, morally speaking, it's my responsibility to give you guys realistic expectations. If you're taking these supplements to look leaner with less facial bloating, reducing irregular facial discoloration, improving skin and hair quality, then yeah, these should do the trick. But if you're going for that looks maxing look with hollow cheeks and completely shredded cut and dry, Jordan Beret look, these will help you look the part, but you still need to drop body fat percentage. You can main gain or go in a caloric deficit, it's up to you. But as a man, if you can't get rid of stubborn face fat, what you need to do is aim for around 10 to 13% body fat. This is the point where you would have a visible six pack without flexing and your face should lean out. If this is not your goal, these supplements will still make your skin and hair look better and improve cognition and prevent many diseases. Now, moving on, Goombas. Before we get what these pea-colored pills are, it's time for a bit of a history lesson. Back in the day, your ancestors, Grood McDude, weren't drinking heavily processed seed oils directly from McDonald's deep fryer, or even cooking with seed oils in general. Seed oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, as the name suggests, is a fat found in seed oils. Excessive omega-6s are linked to inflammation. For now, think of inflammation as your immune system being mad geeked and damaging the body. More than quantity, what's important is that omega-3 and omega-6s are supposed to be consumed in a ratio ranging from 1 to 1 to 1 to 4. Our modern, completely healthy diets that absolutely do not cause many chronic lifelong diseases have ratios far beyond what's considered healthy, like 1 to 20. That is crazy. Historically, humans have never had so much omega-6s as compared to omega-3s. Think about that before you get some deep fried chicken nuggets. Now, where do we get omega-3s from? From seafood in general. Salmons, as a rule of thumb, are pretty good. They have a lot of omega-3s in them. They're pretty nutritious and have a lot of other benefits as well. To get your omega-3s for the week, you could eat fish twice or thrice a week, but personally, I don't like eating fish that much, and you can just take a pill, to be honest. This is what I do. Now, you have to be careful here because there are vegan sources of omega-3s, like in flaxseed and I think some other, maybe walnut. And what this has is ALA. It's a different type of omega-3. And this is not the kind that your body likes. Your body can convert ALA into DHA and EPA. And DHA is what reduces inflammation, and EPA, I believe, is good for your brain. But your body is not good in converting ALA to EPA or DHA. So you want to get it from actually fish or the algae supplements. I think there's some of those are out there, but don't get it from flax seeds. Now, to address the elephant in the room, what is inflammation and why is it even bad for you in the first place? Okay, Goombas, let's cook up an inflammation explanation to burn away any doubt. To explain, let me set up a scenario very quick. Now, let's take a normal blood vessel as our stage for discussion. Without inflammation, we can see that all is well and nothing's out of order. Our macrophage is patrolling, the red blood cells and platelets are moving along normally without danger or obstruction. Kind of like when you go to school expecting a fight but nothing happens. Inflammation is a body's response when something in our body is out of order. Think of it like calling emergency services. This could be a death, an intruder, a health hazard, or something suspicious going on in general. Point being, inflammation is not inherently bad and is a vital response from our body in case of an emergency. Think of it like calling first responders, like police, paramedics, or a fireman. Now, here's an example of inflammation actually doing its job. Kind of like the one day you skipped school and the craziest thing happens. Here, kids, you can see an example of normally what inflammation should be doing. Imagine one day while getting your daily 10,000 steps in and you trip and you fall, scraping your ankle. Now imagine this green scary monster looking bacteria enters your wound. Your body notices the threat and calls in your body's natural defensive systems to neutralize this threat. This system is known as inflammation. Immune cells rush to the site to fight off potential invaders. Let's say a neutrophil spots the invader. I'm not pronouncing the name of the bacteria, by the way. It's too weird for me. He fires off highly reactive chemicals designed to quickly kill off the invaders. But some miss and end up damaging your body. But to be honest, that's an acceptable loss as compared to developing actual infection and dying of sepsis. Now, I bet you're thinking, like, if that's what inflammation does, like, why would it be a bad thing? Like, why should I care? Why would I aim to reduce inflammation? Now, here's the kicker. You can chronic inflammation, which means it's not really turning off. Because of our modern diets, lifestyle, many of us are chronically inflamed. The emergency signals of our body's first responders are never shut off. What this results in is in many police officers and paramedics rushing into areas where they are not needed and causing damage to surrounding tissue when no obvious threat is present. Think of it as some like an idiot constantly pulling the fire alarm. Like when I was in college, there's a joke running gag about pulling the fire alarm all the time, and we'd all get up and run downstairs, and it's pretty stupid. Now, the damage here caused by inflammation is pretty minor, right? It's not that bad. But the problem is when it's chronic and it keeps happening, this damage eventually adds up. And our body is not repairing when it's inflamed. This over time will wreak havoc on your body. Chronic inflammation is not to be taken lightly. It causes issues like depression and Alzheimer's. Moving on to the cardiovascular side of things, it can also cause strokes and high blood pressure. It's even linked to cancer. I'll talk about how it affects physical appearances in a second for all you vain people out there. Now, what causes inflammation to be chronic? You can thank our modern lifestyles in general. Now, contrary to popular belief, processed foods and sugars are not good for you. They're according to many scientific studies linked to inflammation. Poor sleep and stress will also cause inflammation. Same thing in environmental hazards and pollutants. Now, luckily for us, there's no need to panic. Mother Nature offers some solutions so you can continuously mindlessly scrolling or bedrotting or working a job that doesn't pay you enough. Sorry, I'll censor the word job. Now, moving on, olive oil contains many anti-inflammatory compounds and strong ones at that, along with being very tasty. What's interesting is that people in the Mediterranean live the longest, and olive oil is a big part of the Mediterranean diet. One of these unique chemicals is oleocanthal. What this chemical does, it regulates the COX-1 and COX-2 enzymes, which are responsible for producing pro-inflammatory cytokines. You can think of them as messengers. How this regulates them is like, think of it like adding a sensor to your sensors, I guess, that makes sure that it doesn't overreact to threats and at the same time turns off when necessary and doesn't go on. The messages don't keep going off, and immune cells aren't constantly being rushed to a site where they're not really needed, and the body is more in a repair mode. Here's a cute image of a omega-3 I drew over here, showing him down-regulating the messengers. Obviously, this explanation is very simplified, so I don't want some dude in a lab coat reacting to my videos, telling me I'm a fraud or a grifter or something. And here's Oliver the happy olive. Look at those cute little hands. Here you can see him hard at work, keeping your body safe. I wanted to point out how good my screwdriver drawing gear is because, dude, I've never drawn before in my life, and I'm pretty proud of myself. Also, moving on, with all of these supplements, patience is key. Don't expect that you're going to see results in like 3 or 4 days. It's going to take minimum 6 weeks. It could go all the way up to even 12. That, of course, depends on how long you've been living an unhealthy lifestyle for. Remember, anything worth having in life requires patience and effort. Now, moving on to the most important part, which I know why many of you clicked on this video in particular, is, by the way, did you know the word narcissist comes from Narcissus, and he was a figure in Greek mythology, and he just kind of kept staring at himself until he died. Now, how exactly does inflammation affect your face and your appearance in general? Pretty badly, I'd say. So first of all, it can bloat up your face, meaning like you look like you have a higher body fat percentage than you think, than you actually have, and it can cause acne. It can also cause discoloration of your face, like uneven pigmentation, not pigmentation, more like a bad coloring, not an even coloring, not a healthy looking coloring. It can also link to things like thinning of the hair, but I know hair loss is mostly genetical, but everyone loses hair, and it can definitely make your case worse for you. But as for hair thinning, it's only minoxidil and finasteride. Nothing else is gonna help you. So, yeah. If you're also curious about general health, with these things, you're just thinking like, oh yeah, this is just damaging cells. And even for me, it's hard to conceive like how these micro damages lead to the macro, because our brains really can't really extrapolate from the very, very small to the very, very big. So this damage does add up, right? So what you can develop like dementia, you can get diabetes, you can get arthritis and end up in terrible, terrible pain. So you don't want to be chronically inflamed. It's not just about appearances too. It's I've briefly touched on it before, but cancer and everything bad in life in general, strokes. So yeah, it might just end up killing you. Next supplement I recommend is also very interesting because in Eastern cultures and Muslims believe that black seed oil can cure any disease but death. That may seem like a pretty lofty claim, but there is truth to it. Definitely there is truth to it. So this plant that you can see here, we take its seed, and from its seeds they make an oil. And this oil is very good for you. There's a molecule called bro, I can't pronounce it. It's one of the MEPs here. Not only is it very anti-inflammatory, like as I told you before, and inflammation causes so many issues, and you don't want too much of it. So it has that. It's also a very strong antioxidant. And that's very interesting. I'll tell you guys about antioxidants in a second. It's even linked to antimicrobial properties. So if you've been struggling with gut issues like I have in the past, like SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, it could potentially help even there. It's very good for you. You only have to take like a teaspoon a day. It's also been shown to help with cancer, but they're always cures for cancer out there, but it potentially cuts off blood supply. But I wouldn't just take black seed oil and do nothing else, or you're probably gonna die a horrible death. So yeah. Now I want to talk about oxidation and damage of the body and DNA in general. So your body contains trillions of cells. Normally, these trillions of cells reproduce without and go about their day without too much of a hassle. But since we breathe in oxygen, and oxygen is used as energy converted to energy by the mitochondria, there is occasional slip-ups. So remember when we were talking about our immune system attacking bacteria, it does it by creating reactive oxidative species. And these go by ripping apart the bacteria's cell membrane, right? But these can be produced as a byproduct in in our energy producing process. It normally shouldn't happen, but there's so much of this going on, it does inevitably end up happening. It's just part of living, and this will age you. And what you want is, you don't want that, obviously. Your body combats this in many ways. One of this is glutathione, but the problem is as we age, we start producing less glutathione, and I don't know why we do that. Many of the previous supplements that I mentioned also help in reducing oxidative stress, but yeah. A bit off topic, what I also find funny is that bacteria, which produce energy for us, are basically in a slavery for us. Like they don't really they can't really survive on their own anymore. It's like our body just kind of uses them to make energy, and it's pretty funny, not gonna lie. It's a bacteria in every living cell. Now the next one on our list is because of the thumbnail kind of forced to put that there. It's dandelion root. Now this one, it does have some health benefits, but yeah, not that crazy compared to what I've shown before. The other ones have like crazy science behind them, like Harvard. Like I can link you serious studies for that one, and no doctor wouldn't tell you to supplement those. But dandelion root is purely for aesthetics, I think. And by the way, in French, it's called piscine, which, as you can guess, just means to piss. Because people who used to take dandelion root used to pee in their beds. It's an interesting bit of trivia right there. Now, all this does is encourage your body to produce more urine. And what's interesting about dandelion root is it's also potassium sparing, meaning you don't lose so much potassium, you don't get dehydrated, you don't lose the important minerals. It's used by bodybuilders. You can take it in tea or pill form, but as with all diuretics, don't abuse these. Like, your body needs water, and don't take it too far. Be responsible, guys. Now that's it for today, guys. Can you guess what the next video will be? You can kind of guess from the panel right here. Left a clue, so you guys can figure out in the comments or whatever. I do have a complete list if you want to purchase that for all the supplements I would take and would recommend, along with their details and why you should take this. I'd appreciate if you guys would support me. So that right now my screen time is 4 hours. I'd like to push that to 8 hours, and I would like to be full-time unemployed. So yeah, as with anything in life, take it with a grain of salt and some skepticism. I'll see you Goombas later. Peace.